Please help me welcome Marcelle LeBlanc talking about company culture.
What's the clicker? What do I? All right. Hi, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. So Velvet Box, we have 6 retail stores here in the Metroplex. And shopping in an adult retail store can be intimidating, overwhelming. At Velvet Box, we offer a safe and warm environment in each of our stores. And the biggest measure of our success is our people. And that is also our biggest challenge, is people. There's not enough of them. They don't come to us exactly how we would like them to come to us. And we are an entry-level position. So there's going to be lots of training that's required, and also we have a lot of challenges with rotating people and quitting and coming back and forth. So we have something called Velvet Box University. It is a 14-day training that we have for our associates. So our associates have to be trained on the sales dealing with customers on the sales floor for 14 days before they ever even encounter a customer. So every part of the Velvet Box journey for a customer is completely and totally curated. Culture is, I think, the foundation of a business and what drives our success. So here's Velvet Box culture. We did EOS training, and it took us about 2 days to come up with this, and we've had this for about 12 years, and nothing's changed. We measure absolutely every part of our business according to our culture. Actually, the only thing that's changed is we've replaced the word integrity with do the right thing, because we found a lot of people did not know entering into the workforce what the definition of integrity was, but that was the only thing that has changed. So we will go through what our expectations are. I think communicating expectations in order to maintain brand standards is incredibly important. And our brand standards are what is not to be interpreted. So in order to make sure that they're being maintained, we have to train every part of that and teach people how we expect them to come into our house and how to behave. Some of that also involves how we speak to one another, how we treat each other in the workplace. So I'm going to go over our onboarding day. It's the first day. It takes about almost 8 hours to go through, and it's incredibly detailed. And I think my point here is that we need to communicate every aspect of what we are expecting from people in order to have them be successful. So we talk about culture, and every one of these is going to be, we have an app, and there's going to be videos, there's going to be reading, and there's going to be quizzes after each one, verbal and written quizzes. So on onboarding day, we're going to go over about what is Velvet Box, who our company is, how we got started, and they have to be able to know that. Why do you matter? Tell people why their job matters and what they do is important, especially important for retail. A lot of people think that it's just an entry-level job, but for us, we are dealing with incredibly conservative, nervous people coming in, so we want them to know how important their job is. We share our culture with them. We have the Road of Life, which is a diagram showing how we fill the gap between therapists and a medical professional, and how each associate goes ahead and helps a customer in that manner. We also do Radical Candor. It's based on the book by Kim Scott, and it's about caring for people personally, but also challenging them directly. So there is also, they have to watch a 20-minute video on this. They have to read portions of the book, and I will go ahead and go over a little bit about how we implement that when treating each other appropriately in the workplace. There's always going to be some sort of conflict. The majority of people that work for me, I have 35 women, so 100% there's conflict all the time. We also tell them, there's a video on the gift of accountability. It defines what accountability looks like and what it looks like to be part of a team. No one comes to us knowing what our definition of accountability is and how we expect them to behave in the team. So that's explained. We have a video and a test as well. Successful conversations, why conflict is important and not a dirty word. Most people think that, don't say anything, be nice, but sometimes we don't always agree. And so how do we talk to other people about that? How do we not be scared? So we train on that. I will show you later on in something called the clearing form. But also there is how to win friends and influence people. There's a reading in graphics. If you haven't heard about this, it's called RIG, Reading in Graphics. And so there's probably about 300 of best-selling books that are in there, that there's a video on it, there's a chart and kind of a scaled-down version of the book. And so we use this, how to win friends and influence people, and we, telling people how to treat one another. I can guarantee you that young people coming into the workforce have not been trained on this. We have a culture committee, and in addition, we also have a person that's our area director that's 100% in charge of culture. So she makes sure that people are trained, that they are upholding the brand standards and the core values. That is her full-time job. We also, I failed to neglect that, I've neglected to say that we use Culture Index. So we survey everyone and they have the capacity to be able to do the work we're asking them to do, which is very social and empathetic, which requires a particular type of training. So all of this is catered exactly towards the profile that we hire to. And then we have somebody that is constantly assisting, and she's a very empathetic person. We hire her specifically just to constantly be making sure people are upholding the values. How to be a great professional, what professionalism means to Velvet Box and how that's demonstrated. So that is all broken down specifically from how you dress, what time you come to work, what that looks like. All of that's broken down. What an adult agreement is, we got this from Petra, and it's how Velvet Box expects people to act in the workplace. So we don't leave anything to interpretation. You got people that come to work and you kind of just expect them, and then you're disappointed when they don't uphold the values that you hold. But if you haven't told them and you haven't communicated on a regular basis exactly what those expectations are, then they're probably not going to meet them and they're going to disappoint you. So we say it well ahead of time. Phone etiquette, policy on how to answer the phone to brand standard. This is about 3 pages. We practice this, what their tone looks like. They need to be smiling, all of that stuff. We have charities we support. We collect money at the register for charities in the community. So we go through all of the charities that we support, why they're important. We have field trips out to visit the charitable places so that people can be engaged and know why we do what we do. We also have an employee net promoter score survey. This is a metric used to measure employee, it's actually engagement and loyalty. It's sent out monthly, and basically it's 2 questions on a scale of 1 to 10. How would you rate Velvet Box? And then would you recommend them to your friends or family? And why did you give us that score? And it is anonymous. There's a whole book written on this. We also send it out to our customers, but I'm proud to say that this last year we have managed a 9.2 out of 10, which is like almost impossible. We try to, I get the anonymous survey back and we answer every single question that everybody, or every comment that we have, we make sure to address every single one of those things. And so that also is part of the culture. We have sales standards and non-negotiable standards, which I'll show you in a second. Metrics, we go over metrics. Anything that matters, we measure. I mean, anything we expect, it's measured and it's written down. Our non-negotiable standards are 8 important things that we never compromise and what we expect on our people, and I'll show you that in a minute. We also have a connect time, which is a performance evaluation. We strive for 100% brand standard 100% of the time. We absolutely don't get 100%. But if you strive for 60, you're probably going to get 40. So you have to strive for 100, and you'll probably get 80. So, you know, our saying is 100% brand standard 100% of the time. And I'll show you what that looks like. And then we have on the onboarding day, turning away customers for closing, policy on how we treat customers, and what the gray area looks like when we're about to close. There's a handbook. The entire handbook can be downloaded. We have 14 days that we go over the most important policies for us, and then the associate is responsible for the rest of that. They sign and agree to all of this. Store training. We have a complete tour of every store, as everything as far as what the air conditioners are set at, where the binders go, where the supplies are, literally everything. So this takes about an hour and a half to go through, and we tell everybody exactly where everything is in the entire store so that they know, and it is the same in every location, so that if somebody goes to another location and they have to fill in, they can go exactly to the same cabinet, and that is going to be there, and they're not going to have any trouble, and they're not going to have to call someone going, hey, I'm looking for this or that. Safety, we're in retail, so there's active shooter response protocols, so there's videos, and we work through this and train on that as well. There's a WhatsApp chat group, and the teams are divided by store within their own groups to chat and communicate, and so also they put in their metrics every day. There's also something in there that we put, which is a feeling that they come to work with, like to check in. And so our managers will look at that. These are highly social people. And so a lot of times that they are going to be feeling something, and they're going to want to be checked in on, whether it's extreme joy, and the manager needs to probably pick up the phone and say, hey, what's going on? I got engaged. You know, we don't want to miss those kinds of things. And then of course, people that are overwhelmed, it gives us an opportunity to call and check on them as well every shift. All of this is in an app we use in Kajabi, and there are quizzes by day. So this is what just our onboarding day looks like. This is 7.5 hours. We have something called clearing and coaching. So there's going to be a lot of people that sometimes disagree on stuff. And so the biggest takeaway on this is that people get confused between facts and feelings and their opinions. So we have somebody that sits down. If it has to be brought to somebody and they say something about it, we probably go, hey, let's fill this out and organize your thoughts. And sometimes we don't even do it. It's a scary thing for people to do, because they're like, they don't want to, you know, get clear with someone, but it does help. Sometimes they realize, you know, this is all on me, you know, something happened at home, and, you know, my opinion of all of this. My favorite example of this, and when we kept this, and was we had an associate that she couldn't come to work. She kept calling out for her shift, and so I had a manager that said, you know, she's just not a team player. And so we sat down and we filled out one of these, and come to find out, she didn't have enough gas money to get to work. So what an aha moment that was. You know, our opinion of her was that she's just not a team player. And so when we sat down, we organized our thoughts, and we had a calm conversation. We realized that she just needed gas money, and she'd be back on her way filling out all her shifts. Non-negotiable standards for retail, this is us. You know, they have to be in dress code with a good attitude, and the dress code is about 6 pages long. We go through, I mean, what they need to look like, what their shoes need to be look like, what professional dress is. It needs to be ironed. You can't have cat hair on it. You can't pet your dog. I mean, your hair needs to be fixed. You have to have makeup on. Like, all of this stuff, people don't come to us knowing all of this stuff, what professionalism looks like. Most of the time now, in interviews, we see people show up in flip-flops and gym clothes and things like that. So we don't take anything for granted. Every part is curated. Our weekly connect times. So basically, this is given to associates every single week. Every Tuesday, the managers will fill this out. They'll know what their metrics are as far as their margins, their average sale, all that stuff. And then for the core values, they have them or they don't have them. It's either a yes or a no. And then we give them feedback on why we rated them that way. So I'm a big believer in giving constant feedback on a regular basis because people don't like to be surprised. It's really hard to say, hey, let's sit down. Remember that thing you did 6 months ago? I don't remember that. So it's better to coach in real time when people can understand what's going on. A lot of times these are young people and they just simply lack awareness. And so creating self-awareness is going to be our biggest deal. So that's what it looks like to onboard with Velvet Box. Does anybody have any questions? Cheryl.
So on this sheet it says one thing you need to improve. If you're doing this weekly, is there ever a time where, there's not anything that's been called out for that week? Does that section stay blank? Or is your team always looking for improvement items?
We're always looking for improvement items. So we're also big believers in improving ourselves personally in order to be better professionally. So our managers will take books and they will read with their teams that rig. They'll have their team members get together and they'll read that and discuss it. So if there's nothing that is going to be Velvet Box related, they're going to be monitoring what those people are looking for and maybe, hey, but there's always something that you can improve on. I've never found anybody that's like, hey, you're perfect. They might hit highs in all the core values, but there's always something that they can work on to be a little bit better.
So do your managers are the ones who have this meeting with each of the employees on site?
Yes.
And then do you have like another meeting with your managers on this? What's that?
They just send them to me and I'll look at them. So with new managers, communicating specifics and how to, making sure that they are communicating the right things. That's the coaching process that I will look at and the area director will look at. And then once they get an idea, we started using ChatGPT really well. That's really awesome with this. So, we have a manager that has 7 people that work for her. And so she'll just type in, she'll read into it that I have an associate that's not following the standards of professionalism. She comes to work late, yada, yada, yada. She's a great salesperson. How do I write a paragraph without making her cry? And it'll spit something out. I mean, it's that easy, but there's always something. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. Oh.
So I love that you're doing coaching actively. Do you see people give you personal goals instead of just corporate?
Yes, we do that. So as an executive team, which is our managers and our people in the office area director and our buyer, we do work on personal goals. So we did something the other day where we wanted to create new habits. So it takes 30 days to create a habit. Everybody reported what that was going to be, and every week on our L10, we follow up on what that habit's going to be. Right now we're reading The Unwavering Power of Focus and by Dan DePanny. So every week we cover 2 or 3 chapters. And so they're going to tell us what their takeaway was personally on that. And I was telling Sean earlier, I think one of my proudest moments, I had a girl that came to me about 5 years ago, and as a sales associate, she had hair like a Smurf. She was really, just completely different person than me. I would have never gone to lunch with her. I wouldn't want to spend a whole lot of time with her. And fast forward now, she's running a store, she's engaged, and she looks totally professional, and she's reading this Dan DePanny book. And one of her 30-day goal was to start waking up at 7 a.m. every morning, and that included the weekends. And so she had a huge aha moment that there are things that go on Saturday mornings that are pretty cool. So now her and her fiance are going to farmers markets. She had no idea all this cool stuff's happening in the beginning of the day. And so today we're going over the Dan DePanny book, and she says, I told George that he needs to start doing this reading, because she says, if I continue to improve myself and we get married and he doesn't, she says, maybe at some point that we're not going to be on the same page and we won't be together anymore. So George, you need to read the book. So, I mean, for me, I mean, I love retail, but I think over the years, I think I love coaching young people and seeing them grow. And I think our program, our 14 days of learning really reflects that. And I'm happy to share that with anybody if you want to see it. It's pretty extensive.
This is so impressive, and I really admire you to do the time, 14 days to train everybody. Do you find that the employees then stay a longer time, a less turnover with your employees because of the training that you provide to them?
Yes, I do. Yeah, and surprisingly, people like to know how they're doing and they want to do a good job. And that's our number one takeaway with that 9.2 ENPS score is people like the training. They want to know how to be successful. You know, I think a lot of people complain about young people and, you know, the other generation, and we've been doing this for thousands of years, but I mean, we might as well get on with it and figure out how to communicate with them, and they want to know. Everybody wakes up in the morning wanting to do a good job.
Yeah, Marcelle, I'm with Mary. It's super cool. I didn't know you even did all this.
Thank you.
It's really neat. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you. Anything else?
I do have one question, super stupid question, but this is, no, there are stupid questions, trust me. This is so much work. I mean, this is a lot of work. When you just say, look, don't call me until you've got $4,000 worth of goods out the front door.
Mhm.
You know, this is so much work. I'm sure there's a payback, whether it's return customers or whatever, but what is a payback on this? Because this is a lot of work and a lot of people's hours go into this.
Well, it's taken me about 10 years to probably come to this point with Velvet Box University. I think the payback is our brand standard. We have maintained a net promoter score from our customers of a 9.4. And the number one thing that they say in every feedback is the people, how they felt and how they were treated. And for me, that's the goal. That's the reason I opened Velvet Box in the beginning, is because there was nothing that was catering to conservative people to make them feel comfortable. And so that is the payback for me. Anything else? All right, thank you.